October 18th, 2019, the Shorty G era has officially begun. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by Matt Morgan to talk about SmackDown on Fox. The third week out. Matt, tonight's show, riveting, exciting, can't miss?
I would like to put a little asterisk to the opening of that show and say there is no such thing as the Shorty G version of anything.
It's the Shorty G era. It's begun. No. It's official.
Yeah. I was just telling Glenn before we started the show, I am beat up. I am exhausted. And SmackDown had its points, but it didn't do anything to get me going. Like AEW did the other night, for instance.
Yeah.
I was exhausted, and it kind of zonked me out of it.
It was weird tonight, and I thought a weird move that they're announcing next week because of the World Series next Friday. It's going to be on FS1 instead of Fox. And that makes me feel like next week also not going to be a banner show with a lot of effort put in, especially given some of the creative shakeups behind the scenes and just the overall feel of the show tonight. This felt to me very much like how SmackDown on USA felt a couple months ago.
It'll be no different, Glenn. It's not going to be any different. They are a conglomerate. They are the New York Yankees. They are not going to change their lineup because they're playing in a different stadium.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. I mean, they're definitely putting a lot of attention into Crown Jewel happening a week on Thursday.
On Fox. Like that's... Do you know what I mean? Like, they're getting more viewers, right? I don't know if I'd be, like, screaming that from the mountaintops.
Yeah, and tonight, Hulk Hogan shows up via Skype. You have $1 billion TV deal. You're a huge publicly traded company, and the best you can do is Skype.
And this guy would go anywhere for them. He loves, I don't get that either. And then I heard, before we start the show really quick, I read something about Undertaker not doing Crown Jewel. Do we know why?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. So much to get into, so much to talk about. I was tuning in tonight to see what they were going to do with Bayley after her full heel turn last week.
Yeah.
We do have a new number one contender for the Women's SmackDown Championship who's going to be facing Bayley. Let's start with what opened the show, the WWE Intercontinental title match, Roman Reigns versus Shinsuke Nakamura with Sami Zayn on commentary. And, of course, this ended in a DQ, actually, with Baron Corbin interfering, setting up a match for later in the evening.
I like the attention on the Intercontinental title at this level. Like, this feels right. I know Roman is a hood ornament, if you will, of WWE. We all know he's just in a holding pattern at the moment, essentially. But if I had my way about, if this was my company, this is where I'd have him. This is where you know what I mean? Like, I'd have such a stacked main event because there's so many good performers that now you have a stacked Intercontinental level like it used to be. You remember, like the RVD guys type of level of wrestler, right?
Yeah.
RVD, Tito Santana level, Greg Valentine level, like guys that are freaking awesome. It just makes the title mean that much more.
Yeah, and having Roman in this match against Nakamura, it's interesting. Roman in this role, so Roman not winning the Intercontinental title here. I mean, this guy, if anyone doesn't need a belt in the company, it's him at this point.
No, and this is just continues to help him, by the way.
Yeah.
It just continues to help him. We're all going to be dying for him to be in the main event. I've heard people say it already versus how they've booked Seth.
Yeah. Yeah, so with Nakamura, with Sami Zayn, and with Baron Corbin beating up Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan came out to help him. Looks like Daniel Bryan still on that face turn trajectory. Do you think ultimately he turns on Roman and that sets up perhaps a WrestleMania match?
Yes, Roman is owed at this point a very big match. He's been a very good sport about things and how they've kind of, like I said, put him in this holding pattern.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And not complained about it. Continues to be a great locker room leader. He's turning out awesome matches. He continues to turn out really, really well worked, great psychology, and very well wrestled matches. One of the biggest knocks that used to be on him out of the three of them was he was the least of the three as far as work rate went. And he had the most transparency in all of his offense. Yeah, right. Dude, this dude he's got no weaknesses, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. So we go from that to a backstage vignette. Oh, man. With the New Day hanging out with Heavy Machinery. And wouldn't you know it, Otis mixing up some special pancake mix with extra protein, drinking from it directly.
These have Vince written all over it. I'll just be straight up.
Yeah.
All the stuff with Otis and the fat guy stuff. Do you know what I mean? The fat guy joke crap is Vince 101.
It is uninspired, I think, is the key. But as we saw later in the match tonight, though, Otis super over with the crowd. I mean, maybe it's a Midwest thing, but
because he's charismatic. He's
yeah.
doing it in spite of them doing stupid stuff with the poor guy backstage.
Yeah. Chad Gable versus Curtis Axel. So they wrestle this. Bo Dallas is there. Ringside, the bell rings back and forth. Gable picks up a win pretty easily with the ankle lock, gets a win by submission after he gives an inspirational interview to Kayla Braxton in the ring and talks about, he's accepted who he is. He's Shorty Gable and says, no, let's shorten that up. I'm Shorty G.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Now let me ask you something. Yes. Why, when you're going to give him an opportunity to speak, would this not be the opportune time to have us have one of those world beater promos you see a Steve Austin cut after he wins King of the Ring, or any wrestler, aspiring babyface, generally cuts after what we're being told is a meaningful win, something that gets them into a different stratosphere on their own level, if you will, and into the next one, where they cut a transitional promo that brings them from one level to the next. Not this crap.
He delivered it with as much conviction.
Definitely.
And the straightest face and most sincerity anyone could have delivered this.
I would have much more enjoyed him talking about what it would mean for him to be the world heavyweight champion. You guys may think it's funny. You might not think I have a chance in hell. But if I put stock in what you guys thought about me, I wouldn't even be here to begin with. You know, I've been a champion at every level I've ever performed at. This is no different. You keep making fun of me, and I'll see you guys at the finish line. It ain't a sprint; it's a marathon.
And they were putting over
and walk away.
And they were putting over his.
Cut me off in the middle of my promos again.
I'm sorry, but I thought I was trying to detect.
Nobody cares about the recap. They want to be entertained. Go ahead. Sorry,
Matt. We've been doing this 3 years. Sometimes I think we're so in sync with one another that I can just anticipate your rhythms, but occasionally I'm wrong. And for that, I apologize for not being a nurturing podcast co-host.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be the little spoon tonight? I'll be the big spoon.
I wasn't nurturing at all. You cut it off. You ruined it.
For shame. I'm going to have to commit Sudoku right here on this podcast.
I don't know what that is.
No, sorry. It's a Japanese word game, but I always confuse it with the Japanese ritual suicide, which is like Sudoku. Sudoku is a puzzle. I was going to say they were putting over his Olympic performance. I mean, this guy's an Olympic athlete tonight, and they're putting that over. And then to go the Shorty G thing, I don't know. They think they're doing something inspirational.
But let's shorten it up. Shorty G, they're still, I don't know. I don't trust them. And this, I thought he could have talked more about his amateur background. He could have talked. He's a legit badass. It's not brain surgery to go out there and talk about it. And he is charismatic. We've seen him on NXT. I thought he was super charismatic in NXT. He was too charismatic tonight.
He's good.
He is good.
I think when he faces Bo Dallas next week, Bo Dallas should demand to be billed as Grandmaster B.
Is he really facing Bo Dallas next week?
No, but he faced Curtis Axel tonight, so do the math, right?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Good call. Yeah, that's right.
Shorty G versus Grandmaster B, it'll happen. Matt, if you were a hip hop artist, would you go by the Blueprint? What would your hip hop name be if you had to pick one in here?
Wouldn't have to. Blueprint totally says it all.
I just come up with them all the time. I was thinking the other day, Mo Tussin, Big Sur. I think that's a slept-on hip-hop name. I'm surprised no one's used yet. I like Vic Payback. I just keep a running list. Glenn Rubenstein, The White Mystery. When I come back to hip-hop, it's going to be huge.
How many fans out there in the chat room could totally pick Glenn up? Asking me that question just so he could, quote-unquote, get his shit in on what his rap names are that he's always wanted to put out there to the universe. Oh, can we do comments or we can't?
Oh, yeah. Let's see what we got. Oh, here we go. Blue Chew G. Yes. I like that.
Glenn, question. Why have you here? I always keep forgetting to ask you and Raj. We need to do it where the comments come up when there's a 4 of us on there, it cuts me and Justin like right out of the damn shot. We got to figure out a way to do it.
I think there's something suspicious that Raj is always in the top part of it. So, I think it's key.
I think you're correct on that.
Yeah. All these Blue Chew related. Bluey Chew.
They love Blue Chew jokes. They love it.
That's
all I get on my Twitter feed is Blue Chew jokes.
It's amazing. Even yesterday, WWE announced Corey Graves is going to be doing a podcast. And all of the replies to the announcement are talking about, I can't wait to hear Corey doing Blue Chew ads. It's amazing how just ubiquitous has become with wrestling at this point.
Definitely. Yeah.
Anyhow, look, Shorty G, we give it a hard time. I think it's one of these things that they telegraphed this so much with the way they went into this, the trademark and whatnot there. I mean, we want Gable to get a push, but right. Matt, when you look at it from a talent perspective, is it almost demoralizing that this is what it takes, that you have to play along with Vince McMahon's stupid idea when you're a freaking Olympian?
You have to. That's that. Or you have to, or you do the opposite. You quit, or you know what I mean? There's no half stepping with it. Like, look what I did with the Southern character. Same thing. I did try to bring up the fact of, you do know I graduated college, 3rd of my classes with the communications degree, right? Like public speaking. Like I can talk. I don't know if the writers shared that with you or what, sir. But he was like, you're not understanding why I'm saying this. I'm not saying this because you can't talk. I'm saying this idea is because you're confident enough to be able to pull it off, and the Achilles heel with his whole explanation. So I was like, all right, well, at least I tried. And I felt okay about at least trying, because sometimes when you give pushback, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to do something, right? And supposedly that's what Vince respects. I mean, you almost have to wonder sometimes when they pitched it to you and it's like, oh, Vince has been sitting on this idea for a long time. It's a big thing. Does it go through your head that it's like, I'm being tested, and if I really shoot this down, he'll respect me more and let me do something better?
I'm not going to pretend that didn't enter my head. It did a little bit, but the other part of me was dying to get out of OVW. Honestly, I wanted to get, I felt I was ready. I really did, because I got sent back down because Brock quit, Nathan quit. I didn't have anybody to tag with at the time. And it made sense for me to be up there at the time and tag with someone where I could get my greenness out without being so obvious, and them still get me ring time on TV. But by myself, maybe not as much. I don't know. But they sent me back down for more seasoning, and because those guys quit. So I wanted to get the hell back up at any cost. So they could have came up with any idea for me, and I would have said, yep, sure, no problem.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like, here it was Shorty G. It's a rap name. Like it just screams rapper, doesn't it? So like, I'm worried that in lights, the name Shorty G is gonna scream to fans who've never seen him before, rapper, and then comes out super duper overly Caucasian. do you know what I mean? Mr. Amateur wrestler from the Midwest. Unless they change his gimmick, unless he does become a rapper type character, which I pray he doesn't have to do that.
Well, I think, okay, so here's my reaction to it. I think this is why we make fun of it and why we do the Grandmaster be Married with Children reference, is because it doesn't feel like a current rap thing. Right now, rappers do have very diverse shapes. It feels like
we clown it. Yes.
It feels like early 90s, like Vince was trying to be down with the kids in the hip hop.
Yes, definitely. Down with the kids in the hip hop. Yes.
Yeah.
You guys, you ever heard of cool? You ever heard of Sugar Hill Gang?
Do you think Vince listens to hip hop? I mean, what do you think the last hip hop song Vince was really into?
I honestly can see it. I know it sounds bizarre, but he is bizarre. I could totally see like him listening to some Biggie, like one or two songs, like Mo Money, Mo Problems, or something crazy like that, like something that's super mainstream. Do I think he's sitting there listening to like underground Nas Escobar hits? No way.
I was going to say maybe the Fat Boys with Chubby Checker, their version of the Twist.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely when that came out, Vince probably thought he was super over, like dancing to it and stuff. Yeah, probably. Speaking of which, Stand Back came on my feed today on Instagram for some reason.
Huh. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, the only rap I really listen to is stuff maybe like 97 and before.
That was the best rap. Dude, we were so blessed. We got to live through the coolest things in life, like sports, wrestling, music. I think our generation has had the best. I just do.
Yeah.
We got to see some cool things, dude. But rap, hell yeah, dude. Like mid 93 to 98, 99, I'd say. I think was the best.
We're the last generation where hip hop was new music, where it was brand new. You know, where computers in the household were brand new, where video games were brand new. We were there when it was introduced. So everyone younger than us now growing up is like, hip hop's been there my entire life.
Dude, we were around when Nintendo popped up.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, just thinking about that evolution and everything that we've seen. And even with wrestling being new, I'm curious what it's like for fans of the product now that came in during the Attitude Era that were kids then, because we were still young, but we remember when, you know, whether it was Cyndi Lauper or it was Hogan on Letterman, you know, with Mr. T, it was, and I don't know if it was this way for you, but I remember to my perspective, it was like wrestling is a new thing. It's always been around, but now it's on TV. Now it's mainstream. It felt like there was still that entry point, not something we always grew up with.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I did feel like that.
Yeah. So Hulk Hogan, speaking of which, was live via, well, I think it was taped, but via Skype, talking about Team Hogan versus Team Flair, a crown jewel. And so he was impressed. I'm sorry?
Real quick, do you think that was Vince's call on the technology to use? This new Skype? This new Skype app I keep hearing the kids talk about.
And it wasn't live, and it skipped. Remember at the end, like it messed up and jumped? It was like you could have done another take.
Skype, I mean, I shouldn't make fun of them because they use Skype, but I don't know. That's super old, dude.
I'm just saying, if okay, let's say Impact called you next week and said, Matt, we want you to come back and do a thing. We're going to pretend that it's live. We're going to do it live on the phone. Wouldn't you say, like, well, why don't I record it on my phone so I get a really nice recording and send it to you so that way on TV it looks as good as it can look, at least?
Yeah, and not rely on Skype. Yes.
Yeah, it's just very shabby. So Hogan did say he was so impressed. Shorty G is going to be on Team Hogan and Ali.
Okay, so when I see them do things like this, I don't believe for one solitary second Hulk Hogan's even the most remotely excited about Ali or Shorty G being on their team, and he's looking them up online as we speak.
I think you're giving him too much credit. I don't even think he's looking them up.
Okay, he's not, but he should be because they're both uber talented.
I agree.
Especially Ali.
And Shorty G and Ali sounds like the best 1985 Saturday morning sitcom or cartoon.
Shorty G and Ali. Oh my God, you might be onto something.
Yeah, that's a hell of a pairing. And he did say he would have big news about the captain later in the night, which was revealed to be Roman Reigns. We got Heavy Machinery in the New Day versus the Revival with Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. So much to unpack here, but with Ziggler and Roode, now I'm watching this, Matt, thinking of you every time I see these guys, thinking about how they're not doing it. They're not developing them as a team. They're not giving them a story. They're not letting them cut promos.
They're missing that big time. Those two cut great promos, dude. When they're on, they cut such good promos. I don't know. I don't know. Are they now being treated like, you know, Zack Ryder and Hawkins get treated, you know, sometimes as a tag team, disrespectfully, in my opinion? Yeah, a little bit, yeah. I don't understand with such a weak-ass tag division at times what Roode and Zig should be champs. Thanks.
And they were. And then
just they took
complete transition for the Viking Raiders.
Which nobody cared anymore that they became champions. That's the whole thing. Roode and Ziggler had a chance to reset those titles, in my opinion, and put a little bit more importance on them, make them mean a little bit more again. And I would have kept it on them because you have enough tag angles that you can use without needing the title to be in the picture, I think. I don't know.
I just think something. I mean, so we see tonight, and I know we've been critical on the show before, but yeah, Heavy Machinery was over tonight. Otis getting great reactions from the crowd, so much so that when Heavy Machinery and the New Day won, did you notice that Otis got out of the way for New Day to hit Midnight Hour, pin Dawson for the win? I was shocked after they took him down with Midnight Hour that Otis didn't do the worm and get the pin, because I think the crowd would have just exploded for that.
They would have. No, you're absolutely right as to that, adding to the crescendo, like one more lump up. You're correct. It would have. So
I don't know, but with New Day still, where's I feel like with Kofi, Kofi still needs to come out to the ring and address what happened with Brock Lesnar. They're just making it seem like it was Men in Black erased from our memory that this guy was champ for 6 months.
And they need to stop it. They need to stop it, and they still have time to act on it. And if I'm Kofi, not that Kofi's watching this, but if I'm Kofi, I would totally, when he gets that opportunity, to talk about the fact that you still haven't had the opportunity till now. Like, I lost to Brock Lesnar 4 weeks ago, and just now I'm told I get to talk about that? No. I'm not going back into the old Kofi box that WWE likes to put me in this 3-man routine, in this 3-man group with my buddies. Am I going to continue to run with my boys here? Definitely. But am I going to do it because WWE is telling me to? Because I'm no longer championship material in their eyes? Hell no. I'm going to get back on the horse. I'm going to become heavyweight champion again. And I'm pissed that it's taken me 4 weeks to get the opportunity to tell the fans on how bad I feel I disappointed them. I promise you guys it ain't going to happen again. Something along those lines. But he needs to be pissed, in my opinion, that they're not giving him the opportunity to talk about this. He had his biggest accomplishment in his entire life, winning that championship. We all were on the ride with him. We were excited for him at Mania. That was a big deal in Mania, if you remember going into it. Many of us were looking forward to that as a top 3, one of our favorite matches that were coming up, because we all knew who was going to win the title, and we all wanted to see what it would look like and what it would feel like. You know, so like he needs to address it.
I agree. I even think saying that it's almost insulting that he's expected just to have this dignified demeanor of like, well, I was champ.
Step aside. I'm just going to step aside move he's got to apparently do and go back to juggling his with the pancakes. What do they call them?
Pancakes.
Is that what they call them? Pancakes and then throwing out with cereal again. That's so. He's proven he doesn't need to do that. He's already done it. He's become a main event talent. You guys have to keep him there.
So in advance of the Six-Pack Challenge tonight to determine a new number 1 contender for the Women's Championship, we had Ms. TV with guest Bayley accompanied by Sasha Banks.
Mm-hmm.
And this promo seemed very divisive on Twitter. Some people said it was fantastic. Other people were like, this is a lazy mishmash of other platitude generic promos that have been given in the past. In fact, The Miz, when asking Bayley the question and Bayley not really answering at first, I think The Miz threw out every possible theory for why Bayley could have turned heel. And I don't think Bayley confirmed a single one of them.
She didn't. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if they're purposely telling her to be. I mean, they can't be telling her to be vague on purpose, because look what she just did last week, right? The cat's out of the bag. She's a villain. So I don't know what that was tonight. I don't.
She said, no one was there for me. I was there for everyone, giving out hugs.
Yep.
When I lost, who was there to hug me? Which does seem a little strange to fault for that. And Sasha was, I think Sasha upstaged her a little bit, just in terms of poise. Bayley,
she
didn't look. I mean, Sasha, man, she's got so much swagger.
So much swagger, and she screams main eventer. There's no question. But I just with Bayley, I would say something of the same lines. I've been telling you guys for weeks she needs to be dumping the kids now, because all she's been doing is taking care of them, giving them hugs, high fives, showing them love, telling them they could reach for the stars. And you guys started dying on me, week by week, because WWE didn't present me the way that they should have. That's their fault, not mine, folks. Okay. You guys kind of ditched me. Week by week, I heard the cheers get less and less and less. So finally, I figured out Bayley grew up. Bayley realized this is a business. And in this business, the game is to make money. And unfortunately, you guys didn't help me make any money anymore. You weren't buying my t-shirts as much as you used to do. So you know what? Screw you. I'm going to do my own thing, kind of a thing. And the only person that was there and had my back was this chick right here, Miss Sasha Banks, whatever,
It's good. It's better than what we got tonight.
But just basic 101 stuff. I don't know why they're not letting her do. She's a student of wrestling, Glenn. She knows this promo upside down, inside out. She's a student of it. So I don't know why they're like not doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
the full heel promo.
Well, she punctuated it with, you want to hear some words from me? Let me tell you, life sucks and then you die.
So then, okay, so when I hear that, do you hear like a depressed Bayley?
Yeah, I just think that's so generic. I mean, are they gonna put that on a T-shirt? WWE shop. Life sucks and then you die. Bayley.
I mean, it is the opposite, right? Of sunshines and rainbows and unicorns and blow up things in your entrance way, Bailey.
If they put that, okay, if they did that like they did, like with the peppy music and the Bayley buddies, and they had in colorful like text, "Life sucks and then you die," Bayley, I would be like, this is brilliant. This is the most brilliant take they've had on a character. If they just had her talking trash like that, but pretending like it was uplifting, they're not doing that. Even the recap, I couldn't believe they did it. If I made fun of how they were going to do the recap where they were slowing down they're ready to go when they were showing from last week, her coming out, they kept doing like the record slowing down effect.
Yeah.
It's just, I want the best for Bayley. I think she's fantastically talented. She got so over despite being booked so poorly on the main roster.
Yes.
She just doesn't look comfortable to me yet with this gimmick. She has moments of it, but that's where I think
last week she did in her entrance.
She looked better last week, but that's why her next to Sasha, Matt, that's like me next to you. I can come out in fake confidence, but if you're standing next to me, people are going to be like, Glenn doesn't look nearly as confident as Matt Morgan. It's the same thing. Sasha's too cool.
There's that, and here's the other part though. The thing that makes Bayley so lovable is the fact you could see it. She doesn't think she's as good as the person she's generally in the ring with. It could have been anybody in that ring other than Sasha. And I would argue Bayley would still give off that same vibe and that same body language that she feels she's lesser than. That's what made us love her as a baby face, dude. Because when she would pull off these wins, do you know what I mean? We were all with her. Like, you can do it, Bayley. Keep going, and believing in her and cheering for her louder the next time. She's really good at drawing that emotion out of us.
Yeah, and it is true. Life sucks and then you die. That's been a Vince. They've used this before.
That's like my dad's line. That's everybody's line.
But that's the point, is that Vince thinks it's clever to say something that your dad was saying back in 1987 when he was explaining to you, life's not fair.
I think his dad told him.
Oh, look for that in a Bayley promo next week. Life's not fair.
You know what? Life's not fair. Yeah.
I want this to go so much better. And we'll see, because they have the 6-pack challenge tonight. So we could talk about the match itself, where we had Lacey Evans versus Carmella versus Mandy Rose versus Sonya Deville versus Nikki Cross versus Dana Brooke. And I got to be honest, Nikki was probably only ahead of Dana Brooke, and who I predicted was going to win this match to be the number 1 contender tonight.
What do you mean ahead? What do you mean?
Well, I thought, okay, Carmella makes sense, right? Carmella moving to SmackDown, maybe they have plans for her. Yep. Lacey Evans, she was in a major feud on Raw. Seemed like that would work. Yep. Mandy Rose, that writes itself, right? Mandy Rose, Bayley could say, you're everything that held me down when I was coming up, were people that wanted me to be like you.
Yes. Oh my God, that promo writes itself. Yes.
Sonya Deville, huge push right now on Total Divas. Right. Okay. So Dana Brooke, I love Dana Brooke. I would love to see Dana Brooke get that opportunity, but that would have been like Jinder Mahal when he got a championship shot.
Right.
So Nikki, I like Nikki, but notice Alexa wasn't there tonight at all and not really mentioned during this match, which makes me wonder if she's going to factor into this feud of Nikki versus Bayley.
They're done. They didn't get drafted they would have been drafted as a tag team, dude, if they were at plans.
Same brand.
Right. So that's my point. They put them on the same brand to be 2 different entities, I think, again, and go back to Splitsville, because they drafted teams all the time, and it didn't matter. It didn't cost them 2 picks by picking a draft. You know what I mean? It didn't matter. They drafted New Day. They drafted other tag teams together. They would have drafted them as a team if they had plans to keep them there as a team.
Well, could you imagine a year ago, Matt, 6 months ago, if I'd said a babyface Nikki Cross is going to face heel Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship?
I would be incredibly uninterested because of Nikki Cross at the time, but I'd be very interested because you just said, oh my God, there's such a thing as heel Bayley in this year from now world you talk of, Glenn. You know what I mean? I'd be interested in that to see what that would have looked like.
Which is weird that's as a kid, remember your time travel fantasies? Mine are now that I'm going to travel back a year in time and tell Matt Morgan what's happening on SmackDown. Not I'm going to go back and buy Apple stock, or go back and bet on the World Series or pick the lottery. No, I'm
From
just
the
gonna
sports
spoil
almanac
SmackDown.
like Marty McFly. We
Yeah,
always
no.
do that.
I'm just gonna go back and tell you what's up in WWE to get your reaction. Record it. So what did you think of this the match itself tonight and Nikki's victory?
Big.
Yeah.
Very big. This was a big statement. I thought huge statement with all those girls in that match. You said it. All those other girls, I thought for sure were better odds on, like you said. Big statement with that win on what their plans are for her. No.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, so someone pointed out in the chat, Nikki has to lose. Bayley can't turn heel and then lose her first championship defense. So maybe that's why it makes
So let me back off the gas on that. Actually, as soon as you just said that, okay. So they need somebody to feed the Bayley. Bayley needs a strong win over this opponent. So you know what? Nobody gets any on them by having Bayley eat them alive like somebody better, like Lacey. So let's have Nikki do it. So
yeah.
I take back that they got big plans for her.
Well, talking about being eaten alive, Drew Gulak, cruiserweight champion, less than a month ago, faced off against Braun Strowman tonight.
I did not even recognize him physically. I didn't recognize him. He changes his look all the time. Every time I tune in to see what he looked, to see him.
Well, the PowerPoint presentations are back.
I was excited for the PowerPoint presentation. I was pissed at Braun for starting the damn match. Braun, how are you going to beat Tyson Fury when you passed over 45 different pages that you could have seen in his awesome PowerPoint presentation on how to beat Tyson Fury? You know what, Braun? If you lose, you deserve to lose now. You had your friend that was trying to help you, and you just had to start the damn match.
Okay, so aside from Gulak getting just squashed tonight, and this guy again had a title belt less than a month ago, and tonight
lowest title belt, I would argue, lower than the 24/7 title at times.
Okay, aside from the 24/7 title, could you picture this happening to anyone else? I mean, it tells you what they think of the cruiserweights and the cruiserweight title.
Yes, I could. I definitely could. Shannon Moore, I think I squashed after he just was a cruiserweight champion. I was just debuting. I think they don't care.
Well, what I kind of want to see out of this, I don't know if you were at the same page with this, Matt. I kind of want to see Gulak managing Braun and going around with his data, doing the PowerPoint thing.
I love the PowerPoint. I love Drew Gulak's gimmick with it. Yes.
Yeah, I think pairing them up, Gulak is a great wrestler, but I think this would be a great way to give him TV time and have him be Braun's sidekick for a while. And then if he loses to Tyson, then he turns on Drew. It'll be a good moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope they have something for them with Gulak. I mean, this was his SmackDown debut tonight. So the PowerPoint presentations are back. We haven't seen those in a long time. So
I liked them. I like that. His whole presidential, political gimmick too. I think he's entertaining.
Did anyone ever put out the brilliance when he was protesting against No Chance? CHANTS. And that was like his thing. No Chance was his thing. I was like, do people get why that's so funny?
Wait a minute. Why?
Because of Vince McMahon and No Chance. No CHANCE. Vince's theme is No Chance. Drew's was No Chance with the T.
There's no chance in hell.
Yeah, but with no chance, like no chanting. That was Drew's thing. I always thought it was kind of cute. Which I believe you've said is the worst thing. So maybe it was bad because you said cute is the worst thing.
Stop using that word. That and adorable.
Adorable. I'm going to just review old Matt Morgan matches. I mean, Matt was adorable in this match against Big Show. Promos, plugs for WWE 2K20 tonight. Forget the video game, Matt. I'd pay $60 just to watch like a 3-hour series from the people that did the commercials.
I would too. I had all the rivals, and I think they do them so well. I love their commercials. They're so damn good.
The game's getting terrible reviews this year. I canceled my pre-order.
Why though? What did they do different with it?
It's the same engine. So they haven't done a complete overhaul in years, and it switched developers. So the new developers inherited the old game code, and it's just buggy and glitchy. And the characters, people are comparing it to the games of 10 years ago, saying the characters in the games of 10 years ago on older consoles looked better than they do now.
Really? I mean, I saw one with Hogan. He looked pretty spot on. Then again, he's wearing his sunglasses, and you can see the details of the heart. This is usually, in my opinion, the hardest thing to detail and make it look legitimately real life. But man, I don't have the game, so I can't speak on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait and pick it up on a discount. Decided not to be a day one on this one, but those commercials, man, every year that's what gets me to buy it. The commercials, not the gameplay.
Has it been released yet?
No, it comes out Tuesday.
Uh,
Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns in the main event tonight against King Baron Corbin and Shinsuke Nakamura with Sami Zayn ringside.
Love the heels. I watched an interview, and I suggest everybody else do this too. Baron Corbin's interview with not Sam, was it? It was really good, dude. He is pretty. I'm not just saying this because we gave him a hard time about his top and his waiter shirt, but his waiter's vest rather. But like, he's charismatic. Watch that interview, folks, and you'll see what I'm talking about. He talks about his heat and getting go away heat versus Xbox heat and how he relishes it. And he makes some really good points. Sincerely, you guys need to all check it out because we don't know much about him. We don't get much details about him. WWE doesn't do a good job out of the ring getting us to know a little bit more about him. This is good stuff. You guys got to check it out. But anyways, he's right back to where he needs to be, closing out the damn show, you know, along with Shinsuke. Love having, you know, him in the main event, having Sami Zayn near the main event, right? That's all good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, so they announced Roman is going to be the team captain of Team Hogan in Saudi Arabia.
Did you care though?
No, but this is part of the problem though, dude. It's like, so right now they're building up Crown Jewel. Like, are you going to watch this one? I mean, I know in the past you've just, I mean, aside from the fact it's on a Thursday during the day.
No.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Okay. So it's not the least essential pay-per-view, but it's probably one that's going to matter the least in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, they have those two huge matches that I know I'm always going to see replays of them somewhere. So I don't know. I just have, you know, my whole reason I want to watch it.
Yeah. No, I understand. But just with the build up to that, I don't know. I mean, for me, that's where I'm not excited about this.
About the top two matches though? Like,
I mean,
matches? No?
I'm probably going to end up watching it. I want to see The Fiend versus Seth. That's,
oh God, where it says what was it advertised as?
Yeah, like this match will not be stopped.
So what happens when there's a pinfall? The match doesn't stop?
Oh, yeah, I guess maybe that's the only way it stops. No, but that's, I mean, they're saying no disqualifications, no count outs.
So how about you just say no rules? No rule says it all. Like,
I thought that's
why
what
did
Hell
they
in a
write
Cell
that
was.
freaking like damn near run-on sentence for? I don't understand. I thought it looked odd up there.
Yeah. And they showed the recap tonight. This is where it felt to me very non-brand split, non-draft, was that we saw a recap of what happened on Raw with The Fiend versus Seth, building up that match. Although I guess Bray Wyatt is technically on SmackDown, even though
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yes, he is. He was drafted to SmackDown. But
it's very confusing.
They showed their stuff on SmackDown, dragging them through the mat and stuff.
Yeah. So that was SmackDown tonight. Bruce Pritchard running the show tonight. Eric Bischoff out, as we talked about on Wednesday's podcast. What do you think about Bruce in charge?
I think Vince is insanely comfortable with him. And if it's true, I mean, I'm not there, so I'm just guessing here from what people say that Vince has a ton of hold on these shows. Like, the writers write these ideas, and all these rewrites continue to happen, is what we hear. So if that's the case, Vince is still a humongous part of this. It's not even a funnel process anymore. It doesn't sound like. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Carlos Lopez just wrote, I saw SmackDown tonight, and I don't remember anything. I'm right there with you, Lopez, Carlos, because as Glenn is saying these things, I'm having to remember what happened in this match so I can discuss it with you folks at home. I agree with you. Anyways, he's very comfortable with Bruce, is my point. I still don't think that was fair to get rid of Eric so quickly like that, for what it's worth.
Yeah, I don't know. Meltzer was talking about that. I guess he committed the cardinal sin of leaving at 7 and shutting his phone off so he could have evenings to himself.
He did that?
Apparently, according to Meltzer.
Which you should be able to do. However, not when you're working for WWE and that madman Vince McMahon. He's rightfully so. I have the same like as a mayor.
I was going to say.
I want people. I try to, not that I'm this almighty and the hardest worker on the planet. I don't want to like sound that way, but I do want what I put out by others that work underneath me, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes I realize I'm like, dude, Matt, you're working 3 a.m. right now. You literally worked from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. on getting back to everybody's emails that wrote you today. That's not normal. So when others don't do that, you need to slow your roll a little bit, Matt, because that's not normal. That's going to burn people out and make them not want to work with you. So I do try to be cognizant of that. So Vince needs to do that a little bit too. I think at times. I thought by now he would, but no.
Yeah. Although, wouldn't you say? I mean, Matt, you've been working the more than half your life now in professional settings. Do you feel that regardless of the job, whether you're working at a wrestling promotion, whether you're working for city government, whether you're working in the medical field, that the difference sometimes between success and failure are those people that now, for better or worse, they don't have that boundary. And in this always connected world, it becomes almost all consuming, but that becomes your edge, is that you're the guy that is going to answer the email late at night or the phone.
Personally, yes, that makes me comfortable that I know I'm doing what I should be doing on the level I want to do it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I call it OCD. Like I'm OCD about the job. Very passionate, which means it doesn't feel like a job. I don't ever put it down. I like that.
Yeah.
And that's why it's successful, though. And I think others think the same way with a lot of the things that LeBron James is gaga over basketball, and it shows. The dude never stops playing.
Yeah. I think maybe Christmas, maybe there's a couple days where the world unplugs a little bit. But I don't know, man. I was on a cruise last year and like doing work email stuff, you know?
It makes you feel unbalanced, right?
Yeah.
It makes you feel very off balance if you're not.
Yeah. How many unread emails do you have in your inbox right now? Inbox zero kind of guy?
Yes, because right now, no, because between 3 and 6, I'll be doing it again tomorrow morning.
There you go. I got 79 unread emails right now. For me, that's not too bad.
Yeah, you probably get junk emails though. My city email, I don't get any junk ones.
No, I just have to prioritize it about, whether it's client stuff or what. Yeah, it's like, I mean, I get stuff. It's not that I don't care. It's just that it's not like the immediate need and concern. But anyhow, so with Eric apparently was spending evenings with his wife, just wanting a little separation. Meltzer saying didn't really familiarize himself, learn the roster, really know a lot about the current business, and that this did not come as a surprise to people backstage. That being said, let's talk about the ratings situation right now. So AEW versus NXT, October 16th, AEW 1.01 million to NXT's 712,000 this past Wednesday.
What was AEW's last week?
I believe it was, so this is where it gets weird. It was almost the exact same number on TNT, but they had an additional 122,000 from the True TV simulcast. So it was 1.14 combined. But if you look at the TNT numbers, almost identical.
That's a good sign, right?
Yeah.
It didn't drop, essentially.
No, I think so. With NXT, I don't know.
NXT drop? Did NXT drop compared to their score last week?
Yeah, they dropped 78,000.
No, they didn't drop 78. Really?
They dropped 78,000 viewers. They went 790 last week, 712 this week.
Okay.
So it's not terrible.
That's not a big drop either.
But it's, I mean, dude, like, okay, think about it as a fan for a second. Even doing the podcast, we talk, and I mean, dude, we're doing all these, not like Raj back. Happy birthday to Raj, by the way. He's off tonight celebrating his birthday. But unlike other people,
did Raj jump out of his own birthday cake for Ryback?
Maybe, perhaps. But what I'm saying is that even doing this podcast, Matt, we get burnt out. We get fatigue, wrestling fatigue.
Yeah.
From watching this stuff, and we talk about it, and people, God bless you all who show up to watch us live talking about this, because that means you just watched what we watched, or you download and listen to it and want to hear our take on things, which is great. But I think for fans, I don't know how they keep up with this. This is a lot of wrestling, and it's not sustainable week in and week out.
I think that's why the numbers are what they are, generally speaking, because it's the core fan that's going to always watch week in, week out, day in, day out. They're always going to come back. But they continue to tell us they want to draw these bigger numbers. Well, how do you think you draw bigger numbers? You know what I mean? To go get those other fans that don't want to watch. They don't want to watch it like that. Raj back.
Yes, and Raj was drunk tweeting earlier on his birthday.
Did he actually say that?
He did. Well, what's Raj code for? Is I've had a few beers, had a few drinks.
Is that? Oh, is it?
Yeah,
That's his code?
always is. That's how you know. That's when we get Saucy Raj on the podcast. But yeah, dude, I don't know. I don't know how sustainable this is in the long term, to have everybody going at full tilt like this. And I mean, for me, this is where I sound like a broken record. I don't know your point of view on this. Wrestling is the greatest it's ever been. The talent is the most talented they've ever been. But what sets you apart? It's story. And that's where I don't think anyone is succeeding right now. No one gets an A+ in my book on storytelling in professional wrestling right now.
In-ring wrestling is the best it's ever been. Yes. When we say talent, though, I think we need to be careful because the promos and the characters themselves were 1,000 times better back then. Do you think it was so many different ones? Think about it. There's so many different shapes and sizes. You got Kane, the guy with a mask. You had heavy set guys, skinny guys, jack guys. Different makes and models. I'm just going back to the Attitude Era, and I'm just thinking to myself, you have so many different people, different levels, but they all had one thing in common. They all were over from the beginning to the end of the show. I cared about almost every Scotty 2 Hotty. I ended up eventually caring about. Do you know what I remember when he first came in? I was like, "Ooh, these guys are gonna get squashed every week." And then they started doing this entertaining dancing crap I thought was pretty funny with Keish in the middle. And then I started liking them. And they were supposed to be opening acts. Do you know what I mean? And then more times than not, they were. But they were. That's my point, though. There's so many different characters that I ended up caring about. Today, it's just not like that. It's like this one constant color they're giving you, or one noise they're giving you, or very one. Like some of them will stick out, like a Bray Wyatt, Brock Lesnar. But not many people. They all feel like it's at this one level of what they're giving us. If that's hard to explain.
I just think they've got to do something different. I think what AEW is doing and giving wrestlers more control is good. I almost wonder if AEW is too, if that's too condensed with Cody, the Bucks, Kenny. You know what I mean? If it's like maybe too much of the same voices, or I don't know. What I would like to see is I'd like to see the Raw and SmackDown talent, especially, turned loose and see what ideas they have for their characters, what ideas they have for their storylines.
Yes. Definitely. Who knows us better than ourselves do? Yes.
How could it be worse? I guess that's my argument. If someone needs to say something to Vince,
it can't be. Yeah. Take the chance, Vince.
Yeah,
you have nothing to lose.
Seriously. So before we wrap up, how have you been feeling these past couple of days about Marco's stunt? Apparently, your views. There was a great Twitter debate similar to what we were talking about the other night about Marco's stunt, and some people saying this has no place in serious professional wrestling, and other people making a case that no, this is what's great about professional wrestling.
And I see. I'm not just trying to be PC here. I'm being honest. I see both sides because wrestling's supposed to be whatever the freak painting I want to draw, whatever I want to draw in that ring, whatever story I want to tell. The other side of the story is, does that paint, will everybody see the picture I'm trying to draw if I'm not being given the proper tools to draw that and paint that painting? It's going to fall over everybody's head. No one's going to understand what the hell I'm talking about. There is a place for everything in this, to a degree, in wrestling. At least that's what we're told. My thing is that don't insult us too much. You know what I mean? And with the poor kid, I feel like we're banging on him for no reason. I don't want it to sound like that. I think that's a crappy thing to do, especially as a former wrestler myself. It sucks, but it's not his fault. They need to just put him in short bursts of offense, in my opinion, or selling to a small degree where we are not being completely insulted on intelligence, that we're okay enough with this to sit here for 15 minutes and be perfectly cool with it. I mean, some fans might. I wasn't one. That's all.
Very, very well put. Perhaps you should be working in politics.
But like, cause he's a kid, man, and like I talked about it in the beginning of that segment we were talking, dude. I was like, here's a dude living his dream out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You don't want to shit on that. But then here's my question: is that my job as a fan to worry about that? No, that's Matt Morgan, the wrestler, talking. Not Matt Morgan, the fan. My question, Matt Morgan, the fan, would not be saying any of that. Matt Morgan, the fan, was saying, I don't want to see this crap. This doesn't make sense. I'm not believing any of this.
Yeah.
I'm just being real honest, you know? I don't know.
Well, I think it works better with Luchasaurus. I think that is the right amount of Marco stunt when Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy are doing their thing and he's there on the sideline and you could put him in and you could have him involved in 3-man moves. But I think he will put it this way. He was the wrong call to open the match. I think that sent the wrong message.
I mean, well, that and didn't you hear the part I was telling you guys about with Jungle Boy?
Yeah,
he's supposed to be this great selling baby face, like reaching to the deepest depths to finally come back and make that hot tag to Luchasaurus, who's going to clean house. But he makes us feel sympathy for him. You kiss that sympathy goodbye when you have somebody out there that's half of Jungle Boy size doing the selling. It hurts Jungle Boy's one of his biggest qualities, which is being an underdog baby face, taking the heat, selling, and then snapping off some offense when he gets some hope spots, or maybe he does blow a comeback himself. But we're with him. We're totally with him when he mounts that comeback. I think they hurt him by having Marco Stunt be out there because he's going to draw even more sympathy. I don't know. I just think it doesn't help. It doesn't help anybody, is my opinion.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it is going forward. Next week, more wrestling. We got Monday Night Raw. We'll be back here to talk about that. The fallout from Seth Rollins burning down the Firefly Funhouse. You know, until that recap happened tonight, I'd buried that back in my mind. I'd forgotten that happened and how much I hated that.
Did Seth explain how he got there? How he GPS'd his way into the Firefly Funhouse? Did he? No.
So, like, did you ever watch Twin Peaks back in the day?
Yeah.
Kid? So remember, like, when they went to the Black Lodge? When they went to the Black Lodge, I remember thinking it was so corny when it was like a hole in the middle of the forest. They like found this portal in the middle. You know what I mean? It's like when it's metaphysical, I don't know. That's where the problem is. People physically go there, it just ruins it for them.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That's kind of, yeah. I hated it.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens Monday. He is BP Matt Morgan on Twitter and Instagram. I'm Glenn Rubenstein. You can find me on Twitter at Glenn Rubenstein. And until next time, folks, have a great weekend. We will catch you back here on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.